Hey, traders, I am here with Jeremy Benson. You guys have probably seen him posting in either the Discord and or on Facebook. And I'm really excited to get into these results that, Jeremy, you've been able to achieve trading mostly Titan X. And I know there's been some manual trading in there as well, but we're going to get into exactly how you've done that. But I guess just first and foremost, thanks so much, Jeremy, for being on and taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you. I know a lot of people are anxious to hear from you. So yeah, we'll get into exactly what you're doing. So that being said, I actually want to pull up your results here just to share, just to start off. Okay, so obviously this is insane. Looks like you have almost a 500% return. Your total deposits are just over $5,000, and you've grown the account upwards of 20,000. You said that you were able to withdraw your entire $5,000 worth of deposits. So yeah, that's amazing. And then it looks like, especially in these last few weeks here, is really when things ramped up even more. So would you mind just kind of walking us through kind of like your process and how you kind of went about achieving this?
So I started out with the conservative settings, and that was pretty much, I spent a few weeks back testing just through 2020.
Yeah.
To try to make sure it wouldn't blow the account in that time frame. So I started out with those settings, put $2,000 initially in, and let it go. And within a day or two, the Ukrainian crisis hit, and I got a real test.
Yep.
So I think
you said you were trading gold at the time, right?
Yep. So at the peak, the difference between what the market was and my initial trade on the ladder was $97.
Wow.
And my conservative settings survived that without blowing the account. But as you can see with the drawdown, it was getting a little scary.
Right. So that's when your max drawdown hit, the 61% right here, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then since then, what's kind of been your drawdown, would you say, kind of on average?
On a day-to-day basis, I've been seeing it max about somewhere between 1.5 and 3,000, but it's usually floating somewhere between 1 and 500.
Okay, dollars of drawdown. Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I mean, like, obviously right now I'm running, I can handle a lot more drawdown than when I initially started. So I'm letting it run, the drawdown run a little higher.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, and then what kind of changed here? So you said you were starting with your conservative settings, and then you just got more aggressive with it as the account grew, or?
I started back testing other more aggressive settings, and really what I did was just pull up the ticker while it was back testing and watch for what market conditions were causing it to blow. So gotcha. I knew what to look out for.
Gotcha. And I think it'd be helpful if you could get into that a little bit more detail here in a second. I did want to ask, like, would you say this is, like, what percentage of Titan X is, because I know you said you did some manual trading and some Titan X, what percentage of each would you say yielded this?
I would say probably 70 to 80% would be Titan X, because I don't really take that many manual trades, and I shoot for a 1-4 risk reward ratio.
Yeah.
I try to keep it simple where I pretty much risk $200 every manual trade or somewhere in that ballpark, just to keep it simple.
Gotcha. Cool. Love that. Well, awesome. Jeremy, so you mentioned that you'd be willing to share your conservative settings that you're running, but
Yep.
that your more aggressive settings, those are not to be shared simply because if somebody doesn't have the proper understanding or know how to adjust based on different market conditions, it could be very dangerous.
Like it, if I've been running aggressive settings, and when the Ukraine thing hit, it would have blown the account very, very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's smart. And so speaking of that, actually, it'd be awesome if you could share a little bit of your background, just what got you into trading and what got you to this point here now.
Well, I started a few years ago. It's started trying to get into stock market trading, and then I was talking with somebody online, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you try forex trading?" And so that's when I started looking into it. And then I was doing a lot of, like, I guess, shotgunning,
Yeah.
trading a lot of different things. And then, like, I started watching gold closely, saw it was really volatile. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and just started to focus in almost completely on that.
Yeah.
And for the past 2.5 years, I've been, I still take other trades, but I trade almost exclusively gold.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And you haven't ever gone trading full time yet, right?
No, I have not.
But you have plans to.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If all goes well, probably this summer I'll switch over to doing that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know a lot of people want that. And Jeremy, I think what's so cool is that you're an action taker. Like, you mean it. When you say something, you mean it. Like, I remember seeing you in the Facebook group for, I think, a couple of months of like, I'm gonna show you guys like what a small account can do with Titan X. Like, I'm gonna show you guys, and then you did it, and here we are.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's so cool. So yeah. That being said, I guess, what do you want to share first about like what you're doing specifically? Do you want to share the conservative settings and then kind of get into how you're able to adjust and manage Titan in different market conditions? Or got it? Yep.
Minute.
We can see.
All right. So right now I've got the conservative pulled up on it. And these are the settings that survived Ukraine.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah. So do you want to go through kind of the key settings and why, maybe?
So with gold, you can get it compounds very, very, very fast. So even with this starting lot size of 0.01, like when the Ukrainian thing hit, I got to about $1,100 drawdown.
Yep.
Even with it being that low. And the other thing, pip step, I've got at 110 pips. So
Yep.
every $11, it was taking.
On gold, 110 pips isn't actually that much.
It really isn't.
Yeah. Okay. 13 max levels.
Yep.
Did you hit the max levels?
I believe I got to 11 on that.
Okay. You're using bidirectional mode?
Yep. That's the thing with gold being so volatile. Even if one direction is stacking up a ladder, that whole way down that is stacking up the ladder, you can be making $1.
Yeah, totally. And
every time you move.
Offsetting your drawdown.
Right.
Okay, candlestick on time frame every time frame, candlestick filter time frame is 5 minutes. Okay, are you running this on the 1 minute chart?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So running on the 1 minute chart, but using the candlestick filter on the 5 minute. Time between trades is the current, so 1 minute.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Looks like, is that it for the entry settings?
Yep. And then
Take profit of 10.
yep. So $1 for a 0.01 lot.
Cool. All right.
Any lower than that, and it's all getting eaten up by the commissions.
Right. The fees. So, and then you're using an equity protector at 25%.
Yep.
That's awesome. I love having an equity protector there, just in case. Now, when you
at the time, I had the equity protector set a lot higher, but this is where I'm keeping it at now. So I've got my settings set to that for the equity protector.
Right. I assume when you had your lower balance, you just didn't have an equity protector because you needed to use all the equity you had, right?
Correct.
Gotcha. And you started with how much?
2,000.
2,000. Okay, cool. Is that the only setting that changed, the equity protector, as your account grew?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so you're using lipo mode.
Yep.
Awesome.
The yoga mode,
oh yeah, yoga mode.
I do keep it on, but even that, I'll actively switch it off if the market starts reversing to kind of catch it a little quicker.
Gotcha. And is that supposed to be sent, or is that supposed to be set to account dollar instead of account percentage?
Oh, good call.
Okay, got it.
Well, I haven't had the yoga mode kick in on these settings since then. So
yeah, it makes sense. Okay, cool. I think that's it for those.
Yeah.
All right.
So
and is there anything else? Do you use news settings or anything else?
No, I haven't really messed with. I haven't really back tested those.
Yeah, can't really back test news. So
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's about it for my conservative settings.
Cool. So Jeremy, can you tell us, like, you say that you actively manage Titan-X. I think when a lot of people hear that, they're kind of lost of like, what does that mean? Like, how do you manage it? How do you know what to do when? Could you maybe like talk through that process for you?
You see that charts like this where it's like bouncing around a lot, and my aggressive settings do fine with that for the most part. Is see if I can find where it was. Every now and then you get something that's not very volatile, and yes, this isn't a big move, but it's a straight move.
Yeah.
And that's where, even though that doesn't look like that big a move, that's where it gets dangerous with running my aggressive settings, because it'll just start stacking up trades all the way up and won't ever have the pullback
Right.
to allow it to close out the ladders.
Right.
And
so in a situation like that, what do you do to control it, to manage it?
So I'm watching for, like, especially on the hourly channels, I'm watching for, like, right here, you've got kind of a top going right there. And once that top breaks out, I'll start ramping down, my settings to lower and lower the risk until the market starts ranging again.
Gotcha. So in other words, that's kind of a resistance, right? And then when you see
Right.
it break out of that resistance, then we kind of know, all right, we're starting to trend. We better dial things back because we're not going to get a pullback. Maybe
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And with my aggressive settings, it doesn't happen that often, but that you get a slow trend like that, but it does happen and get into a lot of drawdown really fast doing it when that happens.
Yeah.
Even the big candlesticks aren't really an issue because like the big candlesticks are always really, really volatile.
Yeah.
And my aggressive settings is set so tight that I only need a $4 to $5 pullback to close out a huge ladder.
Right. Yeah. So that makes sense. Is that pretty much it, or is there anything else that you're looking for?
That's the biggest thing I'm looking for.
Okay.
Is
Breakouts.
like breakouts, and how fast the market is moving.
When you say how fast, what do you mean by that?
Like if you have a breakdown that moves really fast,
Yeah. Lots of volume.
is gonna pull back.
Yeah.
When you've got a breakout that just kind of meanders on up,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to pull back enough to start closing things out.
Right. Right. So, yeah, and then Jeremy, is there anything else you want to share about that? Or, I mean, it sounds like that's pretty much it. You from what I understand, basically you're looking for breakouts, and when breakouts happen, then you dial back your settings, and then when you get back into a range, then you ramp them back up and just kind of dial them down, ramp them back up based on whether you're in a range or you're it just broke out.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. Jeremy, I also forgot to mention this, but you're a 13-time funded trader, correct?
Yes.
That's incredible. That's like amazing. And I think I saw a conversation going on where somebody asked, well, you're a 13-time funded trader. Like, why are you not trading your funded accounts? Why are you trading a personal account? Like, do you want to just kind of give us some background and kind of explain your thought process there?
A few of the accounts were with funding talent. So obviously we all know what happened there.
Yeah.
And then,
by the way, for those who don't know what happened there, they just shut down and couldn't pay out traders anymore, right?
Yep.
I know you. I mean, he lost, I think, $20,000 or $30,000 that just never got paid out to him because that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first couple funded accounts, and I'm sure you see it a lot. Like I kind of got so excited that I blew them.
Oh yeah, of course. Jeremy, I'm so glad that you have that same understanding that when you get funded $100,000, it's really not a $100,000 account; it's a $10,000 account because you have 10%. In fact, you only have a $5,000 account per day. Like you have that $5,000 daily limit and then 10,000 max. So depending on how you're trading, if you're trading with Titan X, which carries drawdown from day to day, you really only have a $5,000 account. If you're placing manual trades, then you can, anyways, you can lose a max of $5,000 in a day and then $10,000 overall. But so really, it's like a $5,000 account, depending on how you think about it. And I think most people, and it's natural, right? Like, you first get started, you get funded. It's like, I have this, I just make 2 or 3% on this $100,000 account. That's $2-3 grand a month. That's conservative. It's great, but in reality, that's like making 20 or 30% or even more, on that funded account, which is quite aggressive.
It is.
Yeah, and so it's kind of without knowing that, you're kind of just getting set up to fail in a way.
Yeah, especially if you don't really know what you're doing, it's very easy to overextend yourself.
Right.
Trading that aggressively.
Right.
And the other thing is when you trade aggressively, you're going to have a lot of drawdown. It's a fact of life. And a lot of the issues with traders failing is directly due to that, because they'll have some great trades and they'll be like, oh, I can get more aggressive, and then they see the corresponding drawdown and start panicking.
Right.
And like, I mean, with this account, like if I wasn't confident the amount of drawdown I had at any given time was normal and that the trading system works, I probably would have blown the account by now, because like, I'll be honest, I see $1,000, $2,000 drawdown on a daily basis, and I've seen as much as $3,500 drawdown.
Right.
And it's not panicking, just keep in the market, keep letting the market tell you what it wants to do, and just relax.
Yeah. That's really good advice. I mean, a lot of people are used to, trading accounts are much different than savings account. Everybody has a savings account. Not everybody is accustomed to a trading account, which naturally fluctuates. Right. Yep. So when they see a drop $3,500 like that, it's panic mode, right? Yep. So yeah, I mean, trading is so much psychology. That's something that Yuya preaches all the time. And of course, you're bringing it up as well. It's so true. It's so true. I mean, you have to be able to control emotions and have confidence in what you're doing, which comes from back testing, which comes from understanding Titan X, the way that it works, the settings. Those are things that people, may not want to do, but it's actually well worth spending the time to understand as much as possible, because when, the markets go crazy, just like you're saying, or whatever, you're going to have that confidence necessary to be eventually, successful in the end.
Yep. And then, there's, you'll see a lot on forums and stuff talking about Forex trading, that people say if you're going to be successful, you've got to manually trade.
Yeah.
And a breakthrough for me in that regard was, I was talking with a fund manager that manages millions of dollars. And they were like, look, we don't have the time to sit there and manually trade. What we do is we read the market, figure out what the market's doing, and we figure out how to set up
an algorithm,
EA,
yep,
to run it to make money in those market settings.
Yes.
And that was a real, I guess, a real breakthrough for me, because like, I was doing fine manual trading, but I wasn't making numbers like this.
Yeah. I think that's really good, because, and I think it's not only that they don't have time to manually trade, but like manual trading, it's a lot of it is, is susceptible to human emotion, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's where it gets dangerous. So if you can automate trading as much as possible, then you're essentially keeping your emotions out of it as much as possible, which is, like we're saying, is going to help you be more successful in the end.
Yep.
So Jeremy, we got to get back to the story. So it doesn't end on, so funding talent walked away and then you lost and that's it. There's more to it. So let's keep going. So that was a batch of accounts, but then you had more accounts, and
I think you said you still have some accounts that you just haven't traded them, right? You still have funded accounts that are just sitting there, but you're just not trading them. Why trade your personal funds when you have a funded account, multiple funded accounts just sitting there?
I mean, well, it is nice to have insurance there,
right?
Just in case. But I'm paying them for a chance to trade a $5,000 account, essentially, with all kinds of rules on it.
Yeah.
And then it's really, they're set up for you to fail. They really are. And statistically, that is what happens the vast majority of the time.
Right.
And they're taking a 30% cut off of it.
Yep.
Or 20% or whatever it is. So I guess one of the reasons is that, like, I started this, like, I put in $5,000 of my own money into this account. And so I essentially had the equivalent of a $100,000 account. And I get a lot of, oh, you're going to blow the account, you're being way too aggressive. But at the same time,
yeah,
if they saw somebody doing that on a
$100,000 funded account, they wouldn't say anything. Yeah, it would seem like another, just another day.
Yeah, when we're both doing the same thing, it's really more of the whole psychological game,
right?
And it's one of those. Yes, I did violate on it, but it was really a kick in the pants that got me really looking at really rethinking going that route. Was I had a $50,000 funded account. I was over $6,000 in profit, and I put in a trade, put in my stops, take profit. My stop ended up being right on the money of where the wick actually went to, so the trade wouldn't have closed out. But I did the lot size wrong. So I had like $2,600 drawdown.
Right, which is more than you're allowed.
Which, if it's
over the 5%,
my personal account, it's no big deal, because I would have made another $5,000 or $6,000 when the trade closed out.
Yeah.
But because of that, I lost the account, and even though the account was still over $3,500 in profit, I didn't see a dime of it. I was like, I did all this work for nothing.
Yeah.
Because of an error in the lot size that wouldn't have affected the profit if I had done it on my own account.
Yep. And
that was one of the biggest things that got me started thinking about not going that route anymore.
Yep. That makes sense. I hear you.
So
here thanks for sharing. I'll admit, I'm very excited about funding blueprint that's going to be released. It's basically a data-driven approach to not only passing challenges but also using Titan-X as an automated solution for making money post-funded.
Yeah.
But I hear everything you're saying, because believe me, for a minute there, I was totally anti-prop firm for the exact same reasons that you're saying. And that's kind of where I had the shift was, well, let's take a data-driven approach. Let's look at this just like you would look at trading in general. It's in terms of probabilities, and let's approach it that way. And so, we're excited for that. But it's true. I mean, I think these are things that a lot of people don't realize about prop firms, and it's important to realize what you're really up against.
Yeah.
So, well, Jeremy, this has been great. I guess just kind of to conclude here, there's people in the group that I'm sure would love to replicate these results. In fact, I'll just show my FX book here again. This month, 100%, and this month, 400%. I think it was like 200% or something in the last 2 weeks or whatever. Anyways, I know a lot of people here would love to replicate these results. What advice would you have for somebody who's trying to, achieve what you have? If anything else besides what you've already said.
It's going to take a lot longer to figure out how to do it than you think it will without blowing the account. I mean, I've been off and on messing with Titan X for a few years, because I think, what was it, back in 2020? I think it was near the end of 2020 when we released it. Yeah, so I was around when it was released, so I've been messing with it the whole time. So I really do understand its limitations, and the best way to get the kind of results I am is not using it as a substitute for you, but using it as a tool to further your trading. There are settings like the ones I shared where you can set it and forget it, essentially. But those settings, you're going to average maybe $100 a day, which is good for some people. If you're trying to pass a challenge, it's not really going to do you much good.
Yeah.
But the aggressive settings, as I'm sure many people saw with the Ukrainian thing, is if you don't recognize that something like that is coming, you can blow an account very, very, very fast. And I mean, there's a few people that have kind of figured out how I'm doing it, but you got to do it in the right market.
Yeah.
And once again, if you do a set it and forget it, you will blow your account.
Yeah. And that's what you're monitoring, right? You're monitoring the current market conditions, whether it's ranging or trending.
Yes.
If it's trending, you're dialing back. If it's ranging, you're amping it up.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jeremy, again, for taking the time. Really appreciate you being on. And I guess one other thing we can just mention is that Jeremy and I, we've been talking and we're considering doing a sort of mentorship type program. So basically where those who are, newer to Forex trading, or those who are more seasoned but want to try to, understand more of what Jeremy's doing and learn from his experience, 13-time funded trader, we're thinking about doing a mini mentorship where basically Jeremy will just put out a Zoom link whenever he's getting on to trade, and people can join and just kind of watch Jeremy do what he does, ask questions, kind of learn on the fly, and observe what he's doing, and just see him apply everything that we've talked about here today and more. So if that's of interest, let us know. We'll be posting this to Facebook, so let us know in the comments. And if there's enough interest, as always, then we'll do it. So with that being said, thanks again, Jeremy.
Yep.
Anything else, or are we good to close?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, well, appreciate it. Thanks again. It was great to meet you, or at least put a face to all the messages and messaging back and forth. We'll be in touch.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks.